What's happening, Manhwa champions? Don't forget to leave your feedback and smash that like button. Now let's dive into this epic tale.
Before continuing the story, I will first reintroduce several techniques possessed by the MC as well as the opponents in this story. First is the repulsion technique, a basic cultivation technique that uses spiritual energy to form a barrier to withstand attacks. Although quite effective, this technique consumes a lot of energy and can only hold off weaker attacks, so it is often used only as a last resort. Second is the void grasp technique, one of the three basic arts of the Grand Purity sect. Among the three, only 1 out of 10,000 Grand Purity cultivators can awaken it. This technique can create any structure or object from thin air. Although it can form living beings, they have no consciousness and act only instinctively. This art has tremendous potential, but its cultivators tend to be negatively influenced by the will of Grand Purity and rarely survive to reach the Sea of Souls realm. Third is the Devouring Sword, a low-level magical weapon forged from ordinary iron and a dried arm. Although its structure is reinforced, the sword still has low attack power. However, it inherits and greatly strengthens the arm's ability. The sword can absorb all materials within a radius of 10 meters cubed, with a long cooldown after each use. And the fourth technique is the spatial stomach, which is a dried human stomach with a mysterious internal space. Although connected to the dried arm, this stomach is far superior, providing storage of up to 1,000 meters cubed and allowing items inside to be retrieved easily. Those are some techniques possessed by the MC and the opponents in this story. Let's go. Switch to Jiangsi, who was being scolded by his comrades. They say, "Is this how Jiangsi performs his duties? An intruder entered the sect, and Jiangsi didn't even realize it. The elders were mistaken and wrong to place Jiangsi as the interim head of the sect, truly shameful for the sect's disciples." One of them, a gray-haired man named Wei, tries to beat him because Jiangxi's negligence caused his younger brother's death. He demands that Jiangsi take responsibility for his brother's death. A brown-haired man tries to mediate and calm him, while the man at the end says that tomorrow is the day when the Immortal Ruler will descend. Can Jiangsi take responsibility if something goes wrong? Jiangsi replies that he will take care of it, so be quiet. Of course they can't accept that so easily. Wasn't all this Jiangxi's fault? Why is Jiangsi daring to bark at them? Because of this argument, they quarrel with each other. After some time passes, Jiangsi is seen interrogating a subordinate, and he orders another subordinate to arrange for the disciples to stand guard at every corner of the sect. Tonight, all on duty must sweep the entire sect. The man answers that he understands. For a moment, Jiangsi falls silent, thinking. At a critical time like this, another problem appears. Whether the perpetrator is a cultivator or some other anomaly, he will make sure to capture him. Shift to Zangyuan and the two siblings on a rocky hill. They are resting by a campfire for light and warmth. Xiaoling asks if Crazy Brother is okay. Zangyuan answers that he is fine. However, Xiaoqian seems the opposite. He crouches and vomits part of his stomach's contents, sweat on his face. Zangyuan thinks, with limited key refinement ability and no magical weapon, facing a slightly stronger opponent puts him in a weak position. Just setting up a basic formation already drained all his spiritual energy. Thanks to thousands of years of knowledge from his past life, his mind is filled with high-level techniques. But even the weakest among them require the foundation establishment stage. The divine formation sword art can only be learned upon reaching foundation establishment. At that stage, even core formation cultivators would not be able to match it. For now, he must make a magical weapon to increase his strength. Before his muttering ends, Xiao Qian interrupts, asking that next time Zangyuan fly more smoothly, because all the delicious food he just ate has now come out. He then covers his nose, asking, "Wasn't what Zangyuan brought was the big man's corpse from before? The smell is truly rotten." The older sister feels the same, saying, "This thing looks dried." Zangyuan confirms, "This is a human stomach and arm." Xiao Qian, upon hearing that, scoffs that what Zangyuan is doing is truly crazy, disgusting to use human remains as a weapon. Zangyuan doesn't care. He thinks the stomach can store treasures, but what remains now is only this dried arm. Imagining someone forging a weapon from human remains seems strange. The stomach has storage capability, and this arm seems to be able to forcibly absorb objects. Both have spatial abilities. He will try to confirm it. This arm should be able to merge with an iron sword, making it a semi-finished magical weapon. Xiao Leng speaks up, asking, "By the way, since they have already escaped, why not run farther away?" Right after the question, Zangyuan uses a fire incantation, seemingly to craft a new magical weapon. He then answers that he still has unfinished business, but since the sect is tightly guarded now, they should wait until the ceremony tomorrow. Don't worry, once this is done, he will take them both out of this cursed place. Night passes, day has changed. At the Heaven Limit Sect residence, right at a tower, a man informs Jiangsi, besides 700 guards, Elder Li and 3,500 disciples have already been pulled back. Shouldn't they also deploy? Before finishing, Jiangsi immediately interrupts, saying to wait a little longer. The man protests slightly, saying they don't have much time because the Immortal Ruler will descend shortly. Jiangsi says precisely because of that, they must not leave. This ceremony is very important for the sect's survival, so we cannot allow a single incident. The intruder must still be nearby. Whatever his purpose, I will capture him. And indeed, Zangyuan is already not far from the Heaven Limit Sect residence, observing. He finds the security much tighter. To activate the formation flags, he must be near the core. Because of this, he hopes to find an opening when the ceremony begins. He did not expect the Heaven Limit people to have set up so many watchtowers overnight. It seems they used an object reshaping technique. Right after his musing, he plants his foot firmly and shoots off. While in the air, he doesn't immediately break in. He observes and finds that the defenses in the sect's area are no longer there, so he decides to approach. He moves at very high speed, face full of confidence, when suddenly his eyes widen and he halts, landing on a building. He does this because he realizes someone has seen him, none other than Jiangsi. Jiangsi turns toward the lingering gust of wind, saying, "The culprit has been found in the west side of the sect. Someone from outside triggered the line sensor." Knowing this, he orders the nearest guards to encircle that area and immediately flies over to handle it himself. His subordinates move swiftly to capture Zangyuan. A field captain says the culprit can fly, so he orders the disciples to block his path. Zangyuan tries to get away using sword control to avoid clashing with the enemies. While flying, he looks back, thinking he was very careless. Without spiritual sense, he didn't notice the trap. He must hurry to the formation core to activate it, then escape. When he returns his gaze forward, suddenly, several claws are ready to stab him. Undoubtedly, he has good reflexes and breaks them using the repulsion technique like a shield. But it doesn't stop there. He startles, sensing an attack from behind. Fortunately, he dodges in time and immediately stops his movement upon sensing someone stronger flying in the air with a bird, sneering, how dared Zangyuan cause trouble in the Heaven Limit Sect? Without small talk, Jiangsi unleashes a high-purity immortal art, void grasp, like arrows scattering everywhere, ready to be deployed. But Zangyuan manages to evade it easily. He thinks he doesn't feel any spatial distortion at all. This move isn't teleportation, but a bow and arrows appearing from nothing. Absurd. He must not linger here and has to maximize his speed toward the formation core.
Back to Jiangsi, seeing Zangyuan try to escape, he won't allow it. He says that being off the ground with no buildings blocking his sight is perfect for the move he'll use this time. He clasps his hands, channeling reddish ki, void, grasp, forming a large block from nothing to imprison Zangyuan. The subordinates watching smile at each other, saying it worked. Senior Jiang's void grasp is truly extraordinary. If only we were also given such power, we could easily defeat any enemy. But unfortunately, those who receive that power from the Immortal Ruler are only Senior Jiang and Durkian. It seems the two of them are still unworthy to obtain it. Right after their conversation, the spatial block in the air is seen to produce a sword imbued with fire energy, none other than Zangyuan's technique using the low-level magical weapon Devouring Sword, which destroys Jiangsi's block, shocking him. Furthermore, Zangyuan throws chunks of that block back at him, but Jiangsi manages to block them, praising that Zangyuan is quite tough after all. Well then, let's see if Zangyuan can still endure this next move. This time, Void Grasp is different. He conjures a giant distortion right above Zangyuan. Realizing this, Zangyuan turns to look, but his face shows no fear at all. He remains calm and indifferent, trying to break the attack using the Ji sword technique. Unexpectedly, it doesn't work. The sword technique means nothing. Seeing that, Jiangsi smirks mockingly. Now isn't Zangyuan helpless here? Zangyuan starts cursing that creating such a huge object from thin air is outrageous. Feeling unable to destroy the giant object, he has no choice but to accelerate away to avoid it. But suddenly, the object melts, which shocks him greatly. He glances at the technique's owner in confusion. What happened? Why did the spell disappear on its own? On the other hand, Jiangsi is also baffled. The bird he is riding suddenly vanishes, leaving him with no foothold, and he floats in the air, then realizes the Immortal Ruler has descended. Right after that, he loses consciousness and slowly falls. Meanwhile, Zangyuan is still confused. He looks at the sky, which is suddenly covered with darkness. As for the disciples of the Heaven Limit Sect, they seem to feel extreme pain or noise, so some of them have to cover their ears. Unable to believe the Immortal Ruler has descended so quickly, they encourage each other to endure the aura they feel. One of them warns that their minds must not be empty. In a different place, the two siblings feel the same thing. They look toward the sky full of questions. Why has it suddenly gone dark? Back to Zangyuan, still in the air, the situation now looks tense and terrifying. Daytime, which should be filled with bright light, suddenly turns pitch black like night. After observing, he says, "Above the 9 skies, a gigantic figure has appeared."
Before you go, don't forget to tap like if you enjoyed the episode, subscribe for more epic recaps, turn on notifications so you never miss a chapter. And with that being said, Manhwa Champions, we're going to bring this video to an end. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I will catch you all later. Peace.